Welcome to all inspiring chefs, cooks, and everything in between alike. This is Griever, your guys' host as always. This is my bar, the place I am always at, and this, as you can see, is my increasing collection of Shokugeki, no Soma, also called Food Wars. Let's get cooking, ladies and gentlemen. This is chapter 295, and this chapter is setting up something that I really want to see, and I'm so glad we're just away from the not necessarily away from the superhuman ability and the whole noir shticks. It's still there, but in this chapter, it's just showcasing good old-fashioned Shokugeki style. It's showcasing like the fireworks. It's a combination of a brown cream, coffee crumble, very popular here in Canada and in Britain on a lot of different desserts and the like. And they go on to explain that the reason he didn't use sugar and stuff would have taken away the acidity of the crumble. It wouldn't have worked. He melted it at a certain, so it would drizzle out over room temperature. All these different techniques used. I like reading that stuff. Once again, it's hard to memorize it all and explain it all in a review, when I don't have it pulled up or anything. But suffice it to say, that's the stuff I like to read. I like to be like, oh, okay, so the reason he didn't use this, and when he combines these things, it creates this nice look. Because that's real cooking. That's really what will happen in cooking for the most part. Once again, Shokugeki no Soma has a head chef of a couple of restaurants. I think a couple. I'm not 100% sure. I couldn't find out much information. But there is a head chef of a restaurant who, a cook, who does make sure that, these things can be made, that they're accurate, that kind of idea, right? So, and that's why there's a Shokugeki cookbook available online. So it's entirely possible, and that's the stuff I like to read. I like the realism added to the shonen elements, and I think that's once again why I don't really care for this arc, because we're going past that. We're going superhuman as late as chapter 300. Like, you can't do that. Like Prince of Tennis early on made sure we understood that these were like pushing superhuman limits from the beginning, and then they went full-blown superpowers, but early on established. Not this stuff where it's a sense of realism up until chapter 250, and then all of a sudden changing the game. So, anyways, once again, not a rant thing. This is a good chapter. I like this chapter. Now, of course, Sarge is asking, okay, what is your superhuman ability? You must have a superhuman ability. And Soma just answers, diner's wisdom. Like, if I had to have one, I guess it would be a diner's wisdom. And then we see, of course, Zalman and Joshiro continuing to talk about Soma and what his ability is. And this is where Joshiro just reveals, like, it's not that... See, here's the thing. Soma could still awaken a latent superhuman ability, and it probably will have to get up to that top notch. I'm assuming he's going to have to do that. However, here we get the fact that, like, nobody says he doesn't have one, like, blatantly, like he never had one. But Joshiro explains that Diner's wisdom, we'll call it, the Diner's wisdom superhuman ability is something that he beat these skills into Soma from an early age. That a diner, and this makes sense, that a diner can't afford to bore its guests. And if you make good food in a local town, unlike a gourmet restaurant where, for example, you and I, as working class people, I mean, maybe some millionaires watching this, and if you are, well then you probably don't apply to this. But generally speaking, if I want to go to a very nice steakhouse, a very, a high-end place that you're spending, $50 on an entree, and you're doing a 4-course meal or a 5-course meal or anything like that, and you're walking away, with a couple $100 restaurant bill, and that's minimal of high class. It goes up from there. Joshiro explains that most people don't repeat that on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. They go once to that restaurant, have a wonderful meal, and then they might not even go back ever. Maybe they go back yearly at the most, but it's not something where a diner or a pub or a bar, the local watering hole, simply that place has returning customers. It has to have it has a constant flow of guests in a constant level, and it also has repeat customers, regulars. And you can't afford to bore your regulars. You need to keep coming up with new inventive ways to serve them so they continually come back and love the place, love the atmosphere, and most importantly, love the food. So Joshiro beat this knowledge and skills into Soma and made sure that he had the ability to consistently grow and remold and reshape dishes. And this is something way back in chapter 1. It's what he does. He takes ingredients and he molds them in a different way. It's simply like Tsukasa explained back in, I think it was, I don't know the chapter, but it was in the early 20s when Soma and Tsukasa had their first match. When they had that matchup, Tsukasa, of course, wanted him to go to Central, and that was the deal. But after seeing the way Soma cooked and the methods he applied and the ingenuity, even though he lost, Tsukasa recognized the deliciousness, but also recognized the ingenuity and the outside the box thinking that Soma was doing, and realized that he can't control that. That is part of Soma's cooking style that he's never going to be able to beat out of him. So he didn't make him join Central, didn't make him his right-hand man. He gave up that quest because that is Soma at his core. And this is what has been established in this chapter. And I really, really like that. That's really good. Of course, the victor is Soma. Sarge, tastes it and goes all, Christmas food-gasm. And that's basically the end of the chapter. But as I said, Joshiro and Susanamon talking is a really good... And Susanamon basically calls Soma a powerless chef. He doesn't have a superhuman prowess. Because he said, now it's time to see how far can a powerless chef go against the dark side, sort of idea. When I read Dark Side, I kept thinking Star Wars. I'm like, geez, what, is this the dark side of the Force? Is the noir chefs? Like, geez. But Joshiro does state, this is the reason Soma will never lose to the dark side in that way, because his forward thinking, his ingenuity is what separates him from every other chef. And his ability to do that. And as I said, our place might just be a diner, but it's a super first-class diner where he's been preparing superfoods, like Sarge says. All these techniques are by the book or basic, but when combined together in ways that nobody else would do, it makes the dish superhuman level. And I think what Joshiro is trying to say by calling their diner a super first-class diner is the fact that they make superhuman dishes every day. That's their skill. They always make that. They don't need a superhuman prowess because they already make superhuman dishes without it. So that's what I'm taking away from it. Yeah. Once again, tell me what you think in the comment section down below, if you think that that's accurate or you think that I'm reading too much into that. Either way, the end of the chapter here shows that it's going to be Tsukasa versus Ashia. So that's going to be hype. I want Tsukasa to win. I really do. I think that it would be really cool because remember that Tsukasa was never defeated by Soma. He never rightfully earned the first seat in that way. It was a tag battle. So I would like to see, him lose to Tsukasa and him having to face, or some type of tie thing. One abstains, one votes for one votes for the other, and then Soma's going to have to face down both of them and beat both of them to be crowned, the blue champion. Something like that. I know, seeing the current writing in this arc, Tsukasa's going to lose, and that irritates me, because I don't think Tsukasa should lose. I think he should be tie or win. I don't think he should lose. So I'm going to be annoyed. I know I am, because I have this gut feeling that Tsukasa's going to lose, and not just like 1-2 or something. He's going to lose like 0-3, and it's going to be like, what? Like Soma is clearly still not on Tsukasa's level, but then Tsukasa's going to lose, and Soma's just going to go up and beat him. That makes no sense. Unless Soma is literally going to lose in this arc, and we're going to have another arc where he redeems himself. and I don't see that either. So I'd like to see what the writers are thinking. I'd love to know the direction that they think this is going, and then be like, okay, yes, all right, you've finally made sense. But the last 50 chapters has shown me that they don't really seem to know what they're doing. What they want to do isn't, or even if they have a great idea, it's not translating to the paper properly. So I'd really like to know the direction, what they're trying to take this. And I hope they treat their characters that fans do like Tsukasa and Rindo. I hope they are treated with the respect they deserve, because this crybaby stepson of Joshiro, nobody really likes. And I mean, you can still like a villain as a villain, but he's not even a good villain. He's really not. He just showed up out of the blue to be, okay, I'm apparently the best chef. Like, everything that we've done for 250 chapters doesn't matter, because I can beat Jin, I can beat Joshiro, I can beat Soma, I can beat Tsukasa, I can beat everybody because I can. That's very weak writing for a villain. So as a villain, he's not well established, and as a character, I'm annoyed. So once again, I hope Tsukasa is treated properly. The one other thing before we end out the review, ladies and gentlemen, is the Sarge with the knife. The knife thing. So the reason you are strong, you are very strong, but the reason that you will never beat Saiba lies in that knife of yours. And Soma's given that detailed eye look. You know, when you get those detailed eyes, he's not a happy camper. So, okay, and once again, Saiba did the same thing. He thought the knife was worth something, then he looked at the knife and realized he doesn't need it, doesn't want it. Why? What's important about the knife? I'm very, very curious to find out. I want to know the direction this is taking. The Tsukasa Saiba fight, I know where that's going, and I'm not happy with it, but I might be happy with the direction they're taking, the importance of Soma's knife. I want to know the significance of that and what can be done about it. I really want to know, but that's the end of the chapter, ladies and gentlemen, and the end of the review. What did you guys all think of this week's chapter? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Please like, subscribe, comment. As always, it is always very much appreciated. This has been Griever with your Food Wars Chapter 295 review, and we will see you back here next time. As always, drink responsibly, keep cooking, and we'll see you later.